Hey, it's your boy Derick Gant, 24K Life Podcast. And as normal, we are here with somebody special. Now, he's the kind of special that is bigger than special. 3 times battalion soldier of the year. He must be David Goggins' little brother. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're going to ask him. But the dude is special. 3 times soldier of the year for his battalion. What? I didn't even like guns. I was scared to get shot. But my bruh, my namesake, Derick Johnson, is here with us. And he is going to share his transition, his transformation, and how he overcame some other obstacles to be the man. Now listen, we ask that you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. You know, how we are able to do what we do is by more eyeballs. So if you like the conversation, if you like the story, if you feel inspired or motivated, even if you don't, if you're just like me, hey, like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to meeting you at our big event coming up next year. Mr. Johnson.
Good morning. Good morning. How's it going, Derick?
It's good, man. First question, man. Are you related to David Goggins?
No, I'm actually not. Funny thing about that is I didn't find out who he was till about 7 or 8 years ago. And when I learned his story, I was like, wow, I'm not the crazy one. There's other people that do this alter ego thing and that go into a dark place. And I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah, listen, that is hilarious. He's talking about going into the dark places and going, this is amazing. Like the big smile on his face, like, this is great. I got company in here.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You are a unique individual, sir, and I can't wait to learn more about you. Now, where did you grow up? What part of the universe did you grow up in?
Great question. So as a child, I lived in Germany. My father was U.S. Army, so we were stationed in Germany, and my mother is German. So my father's African-American. He's a country boy, and my mother's German. She's a city girl. So they met in the discotheque, and then they had my sister. A couple years later, they had me. They loved R&B and Motown music. So, hey, that's how they met, and they went from there.
All right, so the next obvious question is, do you speak German?
I do. Ich spreche Deutsch.
That is so cool. How do you say Derick in German?
Derick.
Derick.
That hard roll on the R.
The hard roll on the R.
Derick.
That could be Hispanic too, bro. You know, I took Spanish in college and high school, and you got to roll those R's pretty hard.
Oh yeah, a lot of people can do the rolling of the R, and they think that, well, the assumption is always that German is very negative. It's very so some German sounds pretty smooth, but yeah, I grew up in Germany until 2nd grade.
Okay.
And then we moved to the panhandle of Florida. So Pensacola, Florida. You might hear the occasional accents. So that's where that is from. Florida-Bama area.
Florida-Bama area. Now, how long did you live in Florida?
So I lived in Florida for 30 years.
Okay.
Actually, no, 27 years, 27. And it was all throughout Florida. So middle school, high school, and college was in the panhandle. Mm-hmm. And then after that, I was in the U.S. Army and traveled a lot, but my home base was all throughout Florida.
Okay. So when you were growing up, and it's pretty cool and interesting as far as I'm concerned, because who knows what I would have done if my dad was a professional soldier. So I have to assume, and I'm asking to be honest, obviously that had a tremendous impact on you with your dad being a professional soldier, that you became a professional soldier. So tell us about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I grew up seeing my father always waking up early around 4 or 5 a.m. Mm-hmm. And same thing with my mother. They were both awake early and exercising. So as we know, kids, they do as they see, not as they're told. So I would see my parents up early, training, preparing for the day, just morning routine, morning discipline. And they didn't tell me to get up and do it, but I just wanted to. So growing up, seeing that morning ritual, it just inspired me. And I always loved sports.
Okay.
So like, I would see him up early and I'd be like, all right, you know what? I can't be soft. My dad's the only dad that's in shape compared to all my friends. So I was like, I don't want to end up like their dads. So I would just see that vision.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my dad. He's fit. Now you grew up in Florida and your mom's German. So I'm assuming she's white or European or Caucasian.
Yes.
And your dad's black. How
Yes.
was it growing up in Florida with a German mom and an African American dad?
So it had its positives and negatives. So
Mm.
positive was it was different, as in, oh, they're unique. So if you're a military brat, a child of military parents, you're used to your classroom being full of all kind of mixed kids because
Okay,
military, they're stationed all over. So being a military child, we were very open-minded because we're used to being around so many cultures that it's
right,
normal. So once we moved to Florida and we were in the South, I realized quickly that a lot of people just were not experienced as in like travel or being around different cultures. So I was accepted, but I also realized I had to prove myself more so to my own people. So
right.
if I want to play basketball, I had to prove that the light skinned kid is not soft. So I had
I
to
was
get in
gonna say,
fights.
man, light skinned
Yeah,
kid's soft, man. You
exactly.
Albie Sure, El DeBarge. I mean, you soft.
Exactly. Exactly. People would be like, "Hey, Bruce Leroy,"
Oh my
because I was
God.
I was also into martial arts. So with that
Dude,
being
that
said,
is
is
so funny, man. You know why it's so funny? Because when I was in college, and I decided not to take my 5th year playing football. And
okay.
and when I finished the season, my 4th year in school, my friends went to winter conditioning and they were playing spring ball until school ended, and I was doing martial arts. And they used to call me Bruce Lee.
That's funny.
That's hilarious, man. So that is so cool. Now, where did you get the name Derick? Do you know? Do your parents tell you? I mean, we're for the podcasters. This is an offline conversation between two Derricks because I'm interested to know where his Derick came from since we spell it the same.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm actually a junior. So it came from my father. I'm not sure
Whoa.
where Medea, which is my grandmother in
Huh?
Mississippi, classic Medea. But I don't know where she got it from. So I don't know the whole backstory, but I'm a junior.
Okay.
So it's interesting. So what I would tell my friends in school was like I was the mixed kid in the honors classes. Then I would go hang out in the hood and play ball and I'll do all this. So I'd hang out with everybody. I'd hang out with the gothic kids and all this stuff. And I
Right.
would tell my friends, Derick is my white name. Sharom, which is my middle name, is my black name. And I'm like, Sharom is on the basketball court. Derick's in the classroom.
Ah,
So
you
I
grew
would
up
do
with
this
an
back
alter
and forth,
ego.
and
That
it was
is
pretty funny.
hilarious. Well, hey, I'm as black can get, dark skin and all, and no one ever thought Derick was a. At least they never told me. I never had that particular issue with my name. I got called everything else, Rick,
Yeah.
and all the other things. Frederick, is that short for Frederick? No, it's just Derick.
Yeah.
So, but let's get down to the nitty gritty, man. So, how many years were you in the Army?
I was in the US Army for 10 years. So
Okay.
5 were active, 5 were in the National Guard. So if
Okay.
people aren't familiar with the Army National Guard, you have 2 jobs. One is what you do for the military, and the other is to help your hometown state or the state that you live in. So
Okay.
I'm from Florida. So if there's a hurricane, we would be out for hurricane rescue,
Mhm.
handing out food and water, giving people shelter, whatever is needed. And also, if there's like an active shooter at a school, it's not just the cops or SWAT team that go there. They also get the guard ready and all that if that were to happen.
Okay.
But my last 5 years was National Guard.
Okay. And so I'm interested just as from the athletic perspective. What does it take to be soldier of the year in your battalion? What does that take? What does that mean?
Yeah, great question. So what that means is not everybody has to go up. It's a volunteer basis.
Mhm.
So it doesn't mean that everybody goes to compete. If you want to, you do. So what the competition consists of is you and tons of other soldiers, male and female. One is the physical aspect. So you do a PT test, which consists of a 2-mile run in a certain time frame,
Mhm.
2 minutes of push-ups, and 2 minutes of sit-ups. So you
Okay.
have 2 minutes of those along with the 2-mile run, which is at the end. And then after that, you get drilled on tests. So written tests, but they make sure that you're already physically and mentally drained from a few days beforehand. So like that's the caveat. You didn't just get
Right.
the perfect 8 hours of rest. You didn't
Right.
get like the
Right.
perfect coffee. So the physical test, the mental written test and exams. And
Yeah.
then the last part, which is hardest for most, is the in-person question drilling. So
Mhm.
you pound on the door, they tell you to come in, you stand at attention by a chair, they tell you to sit, and all the top ranks from generals on down are all across on this table. Sometimes it's like a square table around you,
Okay.
and you're standing there. So you just get drilled with questions, and they just try to get you to stress out. It's
So,
literally
so,
just a mental game.
so they call you D-Ice. They got to call you D-Ice because you just had to be cool as a mug.
They actually call me Terminator or Rambo, which
There
is
you
pretty
go.
funny.
Well, that's even better. That's
Like I
even
was just
better.
a quiet dude who was just in shape, wanted to help people, but I do feel that the pressure in the military I was ready for because of the upbringing.
Right, your
So
dad.
it was a win-win scenario. And as a
Mhm.
child, I didn't think about it, but the older I got, especially when I went to basic training, when I had 6 or 7 drill sergeants in my face yelling, I almost busted out laughing because I'm so used to crazy parents being in my face doing the same thing all my life, where I'm like, this is nothing. This is a walk in the park. So
So
it's
you're
interesting how that works.
yeah, obviously you benefited some benefits from the craziness. So your dad, was he a drill sergeant at home, or what was that like?
Yeah, so he was definitely very structured. He was also very quiet and laid back.
Mhm.
So he was the positive one, but the fire came from my mother. So if people are familiar
Okay.
with Germans and the mentality, she had the fire nonstop, but they were both positive throughout the day, but they were social butterflies. Everybody knew them, amazing
Okay.
reputation, popular, but after that last bottle was drank, after the last guest left our home, after the last positive phone call was made, they would release whatever was happening internally or from the past on their
Mhm.
son, whether that was physically, emotional, verbally,
Wow.
whatever the case may be. But it would only happen at night. The very next day, it'd be like, hey, where do you want to go have breakfast? Where do you want to go meet me for
Wow.
lunch today? And as a child, you're like, do you not remember what happened? Like I was cleaning up all the glass because y'all just erupted. Like, I don't know what happened. But I feel like facing that at the age of 11, that's when it all started.
Mhm.
I would start to see that both parents were not really looking at their son, they were looking through him.
Okay.
And so I feel like everyone that deals with trauma to an extent, we're all given a gift. And I feel like God gifted me with the skill of discernment, being able to read them where they're at, to read a room and read people and not give the reaction that somebody expects. So
Wow.
like that first year, it was traumatic. It was scary for me. I was a skinny, insecure kid, shy and all that. And I was just like, oh man, this is going to be crazy. But at the age of 12, I made the shift because I got hyperly obsessed with learning stories of men and women that went through worse and how they became
Wow.
successful.
And where did you go to find these stories, man?
So I would, one, listen to music of artists that would like tell their life story.
Mhm.
Two, I would read books. So my dad had a bookshelf of all self-development, Napoleon Hill, Outwitting the Devil, Think and Grow Rich, like all these different books were there along with autobiographies. So luckily he had that. And also at my high school library, I would, and the middle school library, I'd go to the library and just search for autobiographies of people that just went
Wow.
through hell. And the last thing, I would be on YouTube a lot and just watching the stories of athletes, artists, business execs, whoever. And because I got obsessed with that, I wouldn't pretend that my home upbringing didn't exist. I wasn't trying to just like
Mhm.
overshadow it. It was more so like, hey, my situation is not that bad. I, number one, am grateful I have both parents. We have
Mhm.
air conditioning in Florida. We have multiple rooms. We have a swimming pool. And I was like, I really can't complain. So I made a promise to myself to never complain. And also, I'm not one to ruin anyone's reputation. So I don't want to be that kid that's like, oh my God, my parents are alcoholic. Like, you won't believe what's happening. That was never in my nature. None of my friends knew anything until we were about 19. And they're
Really?
like we had conversations and be like, dude, why are we always so chill in high school? And I was like, first off, I was half asleep because we had a
It's
night of
tripping all
rage.
day. Yeah.
But it
Now
was
you
more so learning the stories
yeah,
of
you said
others.
something that caught my attention. You said directed towards their son. So what happened with your sister? Did she try to help you? Did she try to comfort you? I mean, you guys have a good relationship. Did she just close her door and like, sorry about your luck, bruh?
Yeah, it was more so like the last one.
Okay.
So they would more so let it out on me rather than her. Like we were
Mhm.
both intelligent kids, had good grades and all that. And we're just like, I guess the goody two shoes or whatever. Like I didn't do drugs or drink or anything. So I was wondering, I'm like, okay, I go to school, I work out, I go to class. Like I don't see anything that I'm doing wrong except for the occasional teenage mistakes you make.
Right.
But I realized that I was just used as an outlet. And
Mhm.
I never complained. So I would see it as a challenge. Again, the first year, it was dark. I was confused. I was like, what's happening? But then at age 12, because I consumed so much information, I was like, wait, I can create like something in my mind where I didn't get this out of a book. But what I did as a child is I pretended I had a twin brother and he would give me advice.
What was his name, man?
His name was my middle name. My middle name's Sharom. So Sharom would always be with me and give me
Jerome's like,
advice.
them,
Yeah,
man.
he's
They
like,
don't
he's
even
like, man.
nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was like, you're not gonna let them get on you. Like
Let them get
he
you
would just
like
talk
that.
to me, and it was interesting. So the older I got, I learned about psychology, shadow work, breath work, like all this deep, intense stuff. And then I realized I was doing that between the age of 11 and 16, and I didn't even know what it was. But because I had to figure out an outlet, so my first outlet was fitness. So as I mentioned, I was a skinny kid growing up. I'm light skinned, I'm mixed, I'm skinny, I'm getting bullied at home, I'm getting bullied in school. And then I just said, enough is enough. I had to change my physicality, my physique, not to go beat up everybody, but more so to feel confident in myself.
Right.
So outside of reading stories of people that overcame trauma, I also got obsessed with learning about the body and the mind. So I picked up every Men's Health magazine, Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding encyclopedia, Bruce Lee's stories, like all these different things, LL Cool J's workout program, like all this stuff. I would just consume all this information. And then what happened, I transformed my body. And then my classmates, coaches, and teammates, and also teachers would ask like, yo, what did you do? So at the age of 15, I started training all of them. So it was funny. Like I first harnessed myself and then I was able to help others. But that's essentially what I did. I learned about other stories. I never complained. And I figured out, how will I use this to my advantage to be able to connect with people and help them?
Yeah. Have you, not that this has anything to do with anything, I'm really curious if you're going to write a book, but have you read Goggins' book?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Do you have the desire to write a book and tell your story? I mean,
I do.
It's
just
amazing.
Side note on that, my microphone is actually held up by my favorite books, and one of his is right. Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. I love it. Yeah. I haven't read that one yet, but I read his first book.
Awesome.
And I grew up with two parents, also two-parent household, and they were church people. So I got the kind of the opposite. And I got, I was the eldest son, I had a little brother and an older sister. So she didn't have to do anything manual. And he was younger by 5 years, so he didn't have to do anything manual. So I was kind of the one that I hasten to say picked on, but I was 6'3" at 14 years old. So they treated me like I was a man. Lift this, move that, do, it was kind of nutty. Could have got hurt, but back then parents, they weren't thinking about that. They were like,
put some dirt on it, it'd be fine.
You'd be fine. Yeah. So tell me, like, I don't want you to go into what you do now because I have another question for you before you get deep into it. But tell us what you do now, but don't give us how you do it in the description yet.
Okay. So the main thing that I do without like the actual modalities is I help individuals pinpoint their patterns that don't serve them so they can break that pattern so they can thrive in all areas.
Okay. And so how do you do that? Are you a teacher? Are you a coach? Are you?
Yes. So I'm a trainer and a life coach.
Okay.
So I help them get in physical shape. And then also on a personal level, we work on getting rid of the traumas, getting rid of limiting beliefs, improving public speaking, whatever they feel like they're lacking in. Because many people, they crush it in one or two things, and everything else they kind of say, I'm gonna slide that under the rug, I'm gonna put it in the closet, New Year's resolution. So that's what we focus on. Okay.
So you're a trainer, a personal fitness trainer, and you're a life coach. So how did you, it seems pretty obvious, but maybe it's not because you've thrown a couple curveballs my way already. So how did you get from being a professional soldier to National Guard to becoming a fitness trainer and a life coach?
Great question.
I mean, without like going and saying, hey, most people go, hey, I need a check, man, like a 9-to-5 check that's guaranteed. So how did you make that transition?
So at 15, that's when I got certified as a trainer in Florida. So I was training all my classmates and teachers and my parents' friends. And then in college and in the military, I was also a certified master trainer, meaning I would run besides my platoon and battalion and like motivate them, but also on a personal level, make sure that every soldier, male and female, were mission ready and we're up to standard. So it went from school to training soldiers. And then I knew that my heart said, I can do more than just train athletes and just train soldiers. Mass society needs this even more than just us. So it all fell in line, as in like all the experience added up. And it was more so I got pulled in that direction to help people on a deeper psychology level. But the main reason that honestly got me into life coaching was when you help so many people physically and improve their relationship with food and all that, after months or years of working together, you see them in person again or online, and you see they went backwards. At first, you're annoyed, but then the mature side says, I did not give him or her the mental tools that they needed to shift.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, I have to go all in or I'm going to let people down, because some people, they just need the accountability. So that key moment, seeing that so many times, I said, I need to become a life coach and learn about the mind more so I can give them the tools. And then nowadays, less clients, little to none, go backwards at all, even after we work together, because they got rid of all the traumas, limiting beliefs, darkness, like whatever they have, we get rid of that so they can thrive.
So are most of your clients dual clients? They do both, or is it one or the other?
It's both, because I've always believed that there's a mind-body connection. So an example, some people are very book smart, but they don't public speak because they're insecure about their physique, or they don't do other things. So it all correlates. So we get into shape, and it doesn't mean this guy has to have massive muscles and she has to have the perfect body. It's more so that confidence, whatever their physical goal is, we work on that, but then also the mental, so that they can walk into any room and feel confident and not feel intimidated, and even if they're alone, they just feel empowered, where they don't feel like on paper they're successful, but they won't show up at the event because they're uncomfortable with how the clothes fit, or vice versa.
Wow, man, that is powerful. So when you got to the point to where you wanted to be a life coach, and you had done all of this reading and everything that you mentioned that I can think of that really resonates, I've read. What did you read, or what did you do to be certified or to learn about the life coaching side of it? Because it sounds like you were extremely well read, extremely well educated, extremely well experienced. You know,
So
what did you add to your repertoire?
So in college, I got first I got certification at 15 in high school. And then in college, I studied exercise science. And then in the military doing a master training, they have a program with that. But what really got me into the life coaching was I did Tony Robbins' life coaching certification and Les Brown's. So Les Brown, he lives in South Florida outside of Miami. And I went to his like actual training location, and we did tons of workshops and all that. So I knew that I had untapped potential and I had to learn from the best. So they helped me a ton, and I was like, why not learn from the best? To me, they were like Kobe and MJ in the
absolutely. I mean,
space. So I was like, why not learn from them?
I mean, I can't pick anybody better to train you or to be trained by than Les Brown and Tony Robbins. I mean, you know, you're getting two polar dispositions, right? Les grew up, stuttered, and had issues in class, and Tony was, had a rough situation with his mom as well, no dad, and so they both were overcomers and overachievers, which is amazing because they help the rest of the world heal, which is what you're doing. So what do you want to do? What do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a Tony? Well, first of all, before you answer that question, I got something for you, right?
Yes.
When you think about your book title, man, Mission Ready. I heard you say that. Mission Ready.
I like it.
Write that down, man. You might, that's dope, dude. I'm telling you.
I like it.
You could play on that a couple different ways. So I like the Mission Ready, right? Anyway, that was my 2 cents.
I appreciate it. I wrote it down, circled it, and put a star next to it.
That's dope, dude. You said it, and I'm listening to you, bro. But I'm like, Mission Ready. Don't forget to tell him Mission Ready, because he said he wants to write a book. That is talking about your practical, actual success and experience in the military, and then talking about like the wording you just said, I can see it as your intro, right? Talking about that, and then being mission ready in the real world to handle all the things that you handle at age 11. All at age 11. So anyway, let's get back to the positive stuff. So what do you see do you see yourself on stage like a Tony Robbins helping millions of people, or Les Brown helping millions of people? Or do you like your intimate circle? I mean, what's your thoughts about what you plan for yourself?
Yes, for sure. Great question. So I do see workshops. A few of my buddies and I were planning some for the new year as in person. And what I see is giving individuals the full encompassing of the mind, body, spirit, and then also working on themselves. So an example could be a 3-day event. We get there day one, we hike up a mountain together. Some people have never hiked to the top of a mountain.
Right.
At the top, we do some breath work that comes from Wim Hof. We release trauma.
Dude,
We're out
they're
there
gonna be
yelling
doing
like
breath work
warriors.
up the mountain.
Yeah, exactly. And like we get to the top and we more so do a lot of releasing exercises, which consists of breath work, no psychedelics or anything. Everything's all natural, but we do a lot of different modalities to release.
Okay.
And then from there, walking down, we have conversations, and then we get a workout and all that. And then the next day is all breakthrough sessions. So I see a banquet room, everyone's dressed well.
I love it.
And then we stand up and we tell our stories.
Okay.
But the hike got everyone close to each other, because when you are pushed or you're helping pull someone else and you're getting to the top and everybody's laughing, people are crying because somebody hasn't done it or is out of shape, that builds the camaraderie. So day one is camaraderie building.
Gotcha.
And then when you get into the setting of day two, everybody's more comfortable because he helped you, they pulled you up, and vice versa. So it's not like day one getting in there like, my name's Jeremy, my dad beat, like, we're not trying to make people uncomfortable or put them on the spot. So day one is all about the physical. Day two is the mental. And then day three, we do breakthrough sessions where they sit with the experts in whatever they do. So one of my buddies is a wealth manager. He can help people with that. I can help people break the patterns. Another individual could help them with something else. So then they get tools. And most importantly, it's not a pitch fest. We're not on stage saying, hey, in order for you to learn this, we got to get the platinum membership and all this. Like, we've all been to an event where we're looking to learn something to change our lives, and they just pitch you on the next level package. And you're like,
right.
All
I
right.
like it. I like it. That's awesome, bro. I love the idea. I love the flow of it. I can imagine the success based on the way you laid it out. So that's super dope, man. I really like that. Now, where's this mountain, man? Where's this mountain?
So I see it in Peru.
In Peru.
In Peru.
Okay.
So if people have never been to Peru, Peru is the healing capital of the world.
I did not know that.
In terms of energy. So
I get you.
Yeah. So I've never once done psychedelics or ayahuasca or anything. That's the place to do that. If somebody does that, hey, teach your own. But there's a lot you can do just hiking those areas where you just feel almost like an outer body experience. Where if people have hiked before, that's amazing, but there's something in the air and the energy and also the history of that country, which just makes you feel so calm, relaxed. Like literally my experience last year of hiking in Peru is halfway up the mountain, I was just having like every emotion come out. And I was like, what is happening? I've hiked plenty of places in the military and just in general traveling. I'm like, what is happening? And I knew something was going to happen. And on the way down, the best way that I can describe it is that I felt like a child being held by God, just reminding me you're on the right path.
Oh,
like I'm getting chills and almost tears feeling it. And literally just hiking, I was drinking water and a Gatorade. Like there's nothing extra in it, but there's something in the energy. And even the locals, they're so nice. And like, I don't want to give it all away, but if people experience just Peru, even if you're in the town of Cusco, which there's a big square, you'll see stray dogs running around that are all healthy. The whole town takes care of them. They feed them. They don't have ticks. Like just the whole energy is just different because it's an old school mentality of we're a community. You're a tourist. We're going to take care of everyone. Like, it's an amazing place.
Wow. So is that the most amazing place that you've been, in your opinion?
In terms of like healing or energy and things of that nature? Yes. Okay. There are some other beautiful places, but I know on a deep spiritual level that if they experience that hiking it, they're going to have their whole life's going to be different.
Wow. I wrote that down, man. I got to put that on my bucket list. So now where are you now? Are you still in Florida now?
No, I'm currently in Panama City, Panama.
Panama City, Panama. Now, how did you get there?
So my girlfriend and I are exactly the same. So we'll just up and move somewhere for a year. Okay. So we moved here from Tampa, Florida. Okay. And after quarantine, we're like, you know what? Let's move out of the country for a bit. We've always wanted to do it. And then we started looking, watching travel YouTube videos. We're like, you know what? Panama City looks cool. We've never been there. We contacted a realtor. We found a place that's fully furnished. We picked a date, sold everything on Facebook Marketplace. Well, I did because people are sketchy online. So I showed up with the Glock ready in case, and then got everything sold. And then we moved to Panama and got our pit bull here. So that's just how we are. We just don't settle down anywhere. So in December, we're going to move back to South Florida. And then after a year, we might go somewhere else. But
Okay.
we're just on the same page about that. We just like bouncing around and getting life experiences.
That's awesome. You know, when you're young and you manage your resources properly, that's a great thing to do. And for those of you that are listening, not necessarily watching this on YouTube, and you should go check out the YouTube version, check Derick out. It's fitwithderick.com, FITWITHDERICK.com, fitwithderick.com. Check him out. He's got an amazing story. If you haven't been touched by some of the things that he said already, I'm not sure what you're listening to, but what an amazing young man. And I like his disposition. You know what I love most about you, bro, is that it's just in you, right? It is just in you.
Gotcha.
And people will go, well, what's Derick talking? Well, what's Derick Gant talking about? Dude, the it factor. And if you don't know what it is, you don't have it. Don't worry about it. Just keep it moving. But you know, you had it. And the reason why I say it like that is because you're 11. By 12, you figured out how to continue forward. By 19, 20, you're not holding grudges. You're not saying my parents ruined me, I don't have a chance. You're out reading books, finding mentors, helping people improve their life. And I mean, it's just the it factor, bro. I'm not sure what else to say about it, but that's just awesome, man. What?
I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You deserve it. Obviously, give you your flowers while you're alive. And we just met. We're just getting to know each other through this podcast interview. But I'm very impressed with you and can't wait to see the trajectory and the success of where else you go. But before you do go, what 24K nugget would you give my community? My community is probably 65% women, majority single moms. But what golden nugget would you give?
I would leave them with, I challenge everyone to become the man or woman that you would be proud of and give them to the world. Become the man or woman that you would be proud of and give them to the world. As in, whatever you went through, how can you improve in every facet of your life, every area of life? And what can you do to give yourself back to others, whether it's wisdom, your time, attention, a product or service, just listening to people. But I feel like that's where we're all here. I feel like that's the reason we're all here. Yeah. God has us all here to work on ourselves, use all that as fuel, but most importantly, give it back to others. Right. And not just be that successful person who keeps all the wisdom to himself or herself. So definitely becoming the best version of ourselves and then giving that person to others.
Excellent. I love it. Fit with Derick. Hold on one second. I'll be right back.
All right.
All right, folks, you heard it. I told you he was special. Come on, man. He was smiling about being in the dark places and having company. That's special, man. And not only is it special, he turned his dark places into the light. And that is really the gift that God gave him and the gift that he's giving you to the world. So I recommend that you go check him out. Fit with Derick. I mean, you know what? When you meet somebody new, when you learn about somebody who's had it different than you, maybe worse than you, we're not getting in competition with who had it worse or who had it better, who had it easy. Here's what I'll tell you. He can walk you through the process no matter which scenario you come from, if you're willing to do the work. Now, he said one thing that I disagree with. He said that, when he would encounter clients later in life and they had regressed to their prior positions, that he took it personally. And I personally believe that when people are ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will come. And even though he taught them, they weren't ready. But Derick's ready. Fit with Derick, he's ready. So if you're ready, I'm telling you, and here's the other thing. There is nothing better. I promise you. I've had a fitness studio, spin studio. I've been working out my entire life playing football. There is nothing better than getting your mindset right while you're getting your body right, because your body will push your mind to places it didn't know it can go. And when you have an expert like Derick that does that, I mean, I just think that that's gold. It's gold. Then he gives you the visual of what you could be, what you could be doing, what you could become. And he has the experience, right? He's not one of these life coaches that woke up one day and said, I think I want to be a life coach, right? I mean, we see thousands of those people, but you don't see thousands of Derricks that have lived this experience since the age of 12, that have done the reading, done the homework, gotten to a level of excellence, and then jumped in again with the best the world has to offer, Tony Robbins and Les Brown. So you guys ought to be giving my man a hand, give him an applause. Listen, I'm Derick Gant. I want you to be your best, bring your best, leave nothing to chance. With that, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you check Derick out and his content, because together, Derricks are going to rule the world. Hey, be blessed. Have a great day.